Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cooking with Mary Sue. Before we begin, please hit the like and subscribe down at the bottom and share. You'll also find down there below links to my other channels. I have a reselling channel where I show things I buy to sell on eBay. That channel is called SUZYQKNICKNACKS Reseller. The link's below. There's also a link down there below to my eBay store. And there's a link to my husband's channel, BROTH Reflects. Now this weekend, I'm going to throw together a little stew. Yep, stew is a good thing to have in the wintertime, along with chili and soups and stews. All that stuff goes together when it gets cold. It's nice to have this time of year. How many of you have ever gone to your cabinet and based your dinner on what you have in the cabinet? That's what I'm doing today. I'm just going to throw this together out of some things I had in the cabinet and some stew meat. Now I'm starting off with, I bought, here's part of it. I bought about a pound and a half of stew meat, which is just a roast that the butcher's already cut up. It's already cut up and chopped. All I gotta do is cook it and brown it. I bought about a pound and a half. Right there, what you saw is a half of that. So that's about 3/4 of a pound, which is plenty just to cook for me and my husband right now. And it started out where I went to my cabinet and I found in the back, let me show you. I found a couple packages of this potato ganache. If any of you don't know what ganache is, that's a potato dumpling. I bought these several months ago on sale, and I thought I'd put them back and save them for some recipe. Well, that day is here. I'm going to use them today in a stew. Okay, now I'm over at the stove. I'm going to turn my camera around so you see what I'm doing down here at the stove. Let me see, how is that? Let me move you a little bit closer. Don't knock anything over. Yep, you can see that pretty good. Okay. When you start off with stew meat, what you're going to start with is you need to let it sit out for about 30 minutes and let it get room temperature. And it needs to be cut up in little bite size or dices, which this is already cut up in dices by the butcher. And then you're going to pat it dry with a paper towel, which I already did that. I've already dried this. And if you have a lot, I have a little bit, which will fit this pan just fine. But if you have a lot, you're going to want to cook it in batches. You need to layer this in one little layer, let it cook and brown. You don't want to put too much in there to begin with, because then it will just wind up steaming and not browning as well. So you cook a little at a time, however much will fit in your skillet at one time in one layer. And you're going to salt and pepper it while it's cooking. Well, what I have here is just enough for this skillet here. I'm going to go ahead and put it in here. Oh, I need to turn it on. You're going to cook it on medium-high. Okay, let me get the right burner here. Yeah, medium-high. It doesn't take long to brown this. It'll brown in, oh gosh, 3-4 minutes just about. Okay, I don't need that anymore. I'm going to separate this. See if I can get this a little bit. See, I'm going to separate this around, spread it out, so it's all laid out in one layer all the way around. I wonder if I can get you a little bit higher on this camera. I might can. Hold on a minute. I don't want to make y'all dizzy. Lower. Maybe that's right. Try and get you just the right height. It's kind of hard while I'm cooking over here at the stove, trying to videotape just right, like I want to see it. Yep. Now you can see it all laid around here. I am going to, well, I can move this back. That's what's wrong. Move that one back and put you over here. Now that's a little bit better. Yep. Had to get y'all situated here for a minute there. I'm used to taping over there on my counter. When I tape at the stove here, it's just a little bit hard to get situated so that you can see what I'm cooking on the stove here. I'm going to salt and pepper it, give it a little flavor. Like I said, it doesn't take very long for this to brown. And I'm going to add, I've got frozen diced vegetables today. If you know from my other videos, I usually, about once a month, I'll buy celery and onion, bell pepper, and cut it up all at one time and dice it and put it in little baggies and keep it in my freezer. Just for occasions like this. If I want to throw a stew together, I already have some in the freezer then. And yes, when it cooks out in the stew, it does give a little extra water to the stew, because when it thaws out and melts in your stew, it gives a little more water. But that's okay, that will drain away and cook. This is already almost brown all over. And I'm going to add beans to this stew. Yep, I'm going to add a can of beans. Now the ganache, I won't add the ganache until later toward the end. Once I get the stew all put together, it's going to cook for about at least an hour, hour and a half on the stove here. Or you can put it in the oven, either way, doesn't matter. I don't add the ganache till about the last 15-20 minutes, because it's just like pasta. It's going to soak up your water. If you add it too soon, if it's in there too long, it's just going to get all mushy. See? That's already getting nice and brown. It's almost all done. It doesn't take long for this meat to get brown. I am cooking it on medium high, like I said. Then I'm going to get ready to put it together and add a can of pinto beans and some beef broth. Now I have one can right here, but I'll add one can in the beginning, and then later when I add the ganache, I'll add another can. Because after it cooks on the stove for about an hour, I'm going to cook it in a copper chef, which cooks a little bit faster than most pans. It heats up faster. Time it gets through cooking, it's going to need some more water to it. That's when I add the other can of beef broth and the ganache. Now I'm going to add bell pepper and celery and onion. I don't add corn or carrots to my stew like some people do, because one day my husband can't eat corn or carrots. He's diabetic and that's just too sweet for him. He has to stay away from corn and carrots. He likes them, he just can't eat them. If any of you follow me on my reselling channel, I haven't done any videos for them in the last few weeks because I've been kind of busy with Christmas and doing some other things around the house. I'm going to get back to those videos next week probably. And I'm still doing my cooking videos at least one a weekend. See if you can see that. See? It's cooking nicely. Getting nice and brown. It's almost all done. Sometimes I put the camera on the other side of the stove, on the other burner, let it sit up there, but I can't right now because that burner is hot. I just got through using it. It's too hot for me to put my camera up there. That's why I'm having to angle it this way, a little bit different. But you're getting a good bird's eye view of the meat cooking. See? It doesn't take long for stew meat to cook. Like I said though, you have to let it sit on the counter for 30 minutes, get room temperature. And if it's not already cut up, you need to cut it in little dices like that. But I kind of cheated and bought the stew that's already cut up. I love doing whatever I can to make the recipe a little bit easier. And I make recipes that are kind of easy to substitute things over. If you don't like beans, put something else in the stew. It doesn't matter. And if you don't have ganache, you can, like I said, you can add a can of, I would use a can of diced potatoes if I didn't have ganache. I don't normally use the whole raw potatoes in my stew because they just take too long to cook. This is much faster if I want to throw something together in a hurry. Okay, this is done enough. I can pull it off now. Alright. Now to put the rest of it together, the base. I'm going to turn my heat down to just medium low right now. Bring my other pan back over here. Okay, we'll start off with a little bit of olive oil. Just a little dab. That's probably about a tablespoon, that's enough. That's going to not take long to heat up on medium low. This is my little vegetables here. This is the celery. I'm just going to dump it in. That's probably about a cup diced up. Oh, not quite a cup, maybe 3/4 cup. And that's some red and green bell pepper. Ooh, I left a piece in there. Okay. And this is onion. When I filled these cups up, they were full to the top, but it was frozen. By the time it thawed out, it's kind of looks like half of this little cup full now once it thawed out. There. Going to turn these up a little more to medium. Okay. Going to let the vegetables heat up and saute and simmer a little bit in that heat. Yep, the meat's definitely brown enough. It's done. See if I can give you a good angle of it there. A little bit. Now back to my veggies over here. I'm going to go ahead and add the beans in there. I'm not going to drain them. I'm going to need the juice. Leave the juice in there, so I need that juice. Can of pinto beans. Okay, if you don't like pinto beans, just add some other type of bean. I don't make recipes that have die-hard ingredients. You can always interchange things. One thing for another. Now I'm going to add the beef broth. Got that on medium, which will come to a bubble in probably about 5 minutes on that copper shelf. It doesn't take long to heat up, so it will come to a bubble soon. I'm going to go ahead and add the meat in there. See, I'm going to go ahead and add the meat to it. I made a fresh batch of my cornbread this afternoon to go with this tonight. My husband loves cornbread with stew and with chili and with soups. He likes it about with anything almost. Do you want to know what kind of cornbread I make? My cheesy, delicious cornbread. That's one of my first, I think the first recipe I had on my channel way back in the beginning a few months ago. You can go back and look at that. Alright, let me see. I may add a little more, just a little more salt and pepper. Not much. Okay, I've got it on medium. I'll leave it on medium for a while until it comes to a bubble. Where's my lid? Okay, here's the lid. Now I'm going to let that simmer on there for about an hour. I'll check it off and on because the juice will start cooking away in it. Don't want to let it get too dry. I'll keep a check on it. I might turn it down in about a half hour to medium low, but it's on medium right now. Let it stay there for about an hour. Let me see. And then toward the last half hour of it, I will put the ganache in. I've already cooked it. It is over here. Let me grab it. It doesn't take long. Ganache is like cooking pasta. Put it in a pot of boiling water, cook it for about 12 minutes. See? They're just a little bitty potato, just little potato dumplings, all they are. I have this is a 17-ounce package of potato ganache. After about an hour, I'll add this ganache in and the other can of beef broth. I'll let it simmer for about another 15-20 minutes and it will be done. And if you know me, I cooked some a little while ago. I made this pot of it about an hour ago. Now on this one, I did not add pinto beans. I added crowder peas. And why is that? I did that because I only had 1 can of pinto beans. Like I said, you just sometimes base your recipe on what you have in the pantry. Now I only had 1 can of pinto beans, so I used it, and I used crowder peas in this one. I'm going to go to the store and get a case of pinto beans this week, that's for sure. But see, look how delicious that looks. That looks yummy. That is going to be delicious with some cornbread tonight for supper. Got a whole bowl of this. Yep. That looks delicious. And that's a wrap for now. We're all done. And that is my recipe for potato ganache beef stew soup. Or stew. Yeah, it's more of a stew, not a soup. But, call it a weekend. This is it. Hope y'all have a nice week this week. Leave me some nice comments and let me know what else you'd like me to cook in the future. I'll try to think of something else by next weekend. I usually do. Y'all take care. God bless. See you later.